Lads, lasses, and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and welcome to Season 2 of Feeling Blue. Let's go. Alright, lads and lasses, welcome back to another retroactive Feeling Blue. Now, it was a bit late last night to actually do this. I was very tired and I needed to take an early night. But we're back and we'll talk about this game, and spoiler alert, when you get an 8-0 victory against a team of much lesser quality, there isn't really going to be anything going into these two ladder boxes. So we've got my 7 points as usual, my lucky number of 7 things, and we'll put them into the good box and we'll talk about them. And I think this game in general, we can talk about this game, went it was a lot more one-sided than I personally anticipated. We did see a few things from Noah that I kind of mentioned in my preview. We saw the confidence that they had when they were on the ball and were attacking. We saw the aggressiveness of them from the way that they played. But the main thing that we saw, and something again that I predicted, was that they got very overwhelmed by the occasion, and they had never played a team of Chelsea's quality in their history, and we knew, well, I personally knew anyway, that they were not going to be able to handle the superiority of our team. Now, I think if we get into the points here, and we could talk about one player who I think was probably a shoe-in for man of the match if he played the full game. He did not, though, and that's Enzo Fernandez. And he had one of these kind of frustrating games for me personally, because he shows how good he can be when he's played in the correct position, and we just don't see him playing here enough. He played in this 5 next to Vega as a deep-lying playmaker, and he obviously takes the responsibility of taking the corners too. He gets 3 assists in this game, 1 from open play. He would have definitely got more if he stayed on. I understand why he's been rested, because I assume he's going to be starting against Arsenal, or if not, he's going to be involved in some way against Arsenal, so there's no qualms of him coming off. Obviously we get to see Cassidy come on, and Cassidy did pretty well himself. We nearly got a goal too. But Enzo kind of, he summed up the way that we kind of want to see him playing in this game. And if we actually take a look at some of the stats, he had 39 touches, 30 of he had 39 touches, 30 of his 27 of his 30 passes were accurate. He had 3 key passes, 2 crosses that were accurate out of 2 long balls that were accurate out of 2, 1 big chance created, which is weird. I don't know why he gets credited with only 1 big chance when he gets 3 assists, but there we are. Yeah, just an excellent performance from Enzo, and something that we really should be seeing more often. And it's also nice, again, to see him getting 2 assists from corners, and we can actually kind of finally get to see some of our set pieces working. And that's actually the second point I want to put in here, and I spoke about him and I put him in the bad box for the last one of these I did, so it's only fair that when they do go well that I put him in here, and that's for Bernardo Cueva. Now, it isn't actually for him specifically, but it's just in general. This is kind of a general point of our set pieces improving, because it's a thing that we see quite often, is that we have very good deliverers of the ball. We have Enzo, we have Palmer that take these corners, and we don't ever see kind of the fruits of that labour in a way. We never actually get to see our centre-backs scoring from those corners, and in this game we get to see 2 centre-backs scoring. Disasi, who I think personally had a really good game. I haven't put him in here just because I want to talk about some other players instead, and I'm limited by the 7 points, but Disasi getting a goal and an assist in this game. He got an assist for one of Nkunku's goals, and obviously Tosin Adarabioyo getting his first ever Chelsea goal. And it's nice to see him specifically scoring, and I think that he had a pretty decent game too, playing as that central centre-back, where he is more comfortable playing there rather than on the right-hand side. And not just that, we can kind of segue into a third point here as well. I'm kind of rattling through these pretty quickly. But those two having a very good defensive performance was tipped off by the fact that we got this clean sheet in this game. And obviously, this was a game where I was kind of fearful in a way, even though Noah are a much less quality side than we are. I was worried that we might have a few of those kind of silly defensive mistakes that we kind of always see. There's one of those defensive lapses where they get in and they score, and they definitely could have scored in this game. They were very good when they were going forward. It's just going backwards, they were utterly woeful, and it's almost like the team was two different teams playing at two different times kind of thing. But they definitely had chances to score, and they definitely could have scored if it weren't for our defenders playing well, but more so if it weren't for Philip Jorgensen, who, this was one of his best performances in Chelsea shirt, and I always say, whenever we get these chances, it's really sad for that he doesn't get clean sheets, because he always puts in good performances and gets let down by the people in front of him. This was one of the games where the people in front of him didn't let him down as much. They still did at times, but he was superb today. Not only yesterday. Not only was he obviously doing the things you want to see from your goalkeeper, making the saves, keeping the clean sheet, and some of the saves he made were absolutely stellar. And one of the most important ones was right at the start of the game, when Noah actually had a very good spell as they tried to kind of step on the gas against us immediately, and we didn't really wake up quick enough. And one of those shots was really tidy shot that Jorgensen saved, and that is so important, because if they got one goal up, you never know, they could have kind of got confidence from that and actually rolled us over a little bit, and it could have been one of those things where the Stamford Bridge crowd gets on our team's back and we don't recover from it. Admittedly, that's a very big if and a very big hypothetical, and I don't think that would have happened, but it's still nice to see him being professional, and in general the whole team being very professional against a side that has no business being in the same pitch as us, if in truth. But yeah, very good performance from Jorgensen. Not just that, but also the calmness on the ball when he's passing out against a team that was pressing very high is something that is a breath of fresh air to see, because we keep seeing mistakes happen from Robert Sanchez in the Premier League games and stuff. It's really nice to see one of our goalkeepers so confident, and it's kind of a shame that he doesn't get more game time in the Premier League, because this was one of those games where it makes you think, why isn't he playing? Because he was more comfortable on the ball, he was making the saves, so what has Sanchez really got over him? It didn't really seem to me like he had much over him in this game, so maybe we'll see him rotate in for some Premier League games, we never know. Maybe we might have to, it might be one of those situations where if Sanchez gets injured, for example, and Jorgensen has to step in, maybe he gets a chance there, but I digress. Hopefully he can get some more game time, and obviously he's going to keep playing in these Conference League games, and long may his good form continue. Now, the next point I'm going to be talking about here is a combination point, and it's for the young duo of Tyreek George and Mark Guiu. Now, this is just a general point for the youth players in general, so I'm going to use these two to symbolize that. It was just very good to see a lot of youth playing in this game. Obviously, Raksaki came on as well. He looked pretty decent in the 10-minute cameo that he played. Obviously, Cassidy came on, and even though he's kind of more of an established first teamer, he is still a youth player. And these two put in very good performances. I think George was absolutely robbed of about 3 assists, maybe 4 assists in this game. He was putting them on the plate for our team, and they were not putting them away. Very unlucky to not get a goal himself. Guiu obviously getting his first goal for Chelsea in a competitive fixture, and I'm really happy for him, and you could see from his celebration how much it meant to him, and that's really nice to see. But also, he could have had a second goal with a header, and it was really unlucky that it was cleared off the line. So, and just in general, it's not just the fact that he scored. Obviously, I would put him in here if he scored anyway, but his overall game today, I keep saying today, yesterday, was something that we kind of wanted to see from Nkunku when Nkunku was playing in the 9, and just what we haven't seen, and it's that intensity, that press. Obviously, one of Felix's goals comes from an intense press from Guiu. Guiu obviously gets his own goal from his own work by pressing high and snatching the ball from a loose pass, and it's that kind of desire to play the game and just the desire to work hard and try and get goals for the team that I really admire. And it's something that, again, it's kind of frustrating when we see Nkunku play in the 9, because he doesn't do that hard work. But yeah, I thought like Guiu especially had a really good game. George, I think, created the most amount of chances in the game, if I'm not mistaken, for any player on the pitch, which is incredible for a young player that's playing out of position, by the way, and for a player that only found out that he was going to be playing 2 hours before kickoff, which is incredible man management from Maresca there, because as he kind of highlighted, some players kind of react badly to when you kind of tell them, hey, you're going to be playing tomorrow, and then they can't sleep, and then they kind of worry about it. Whereas in this instance, Enzo was clearly nurturing George and being like, I'm not going to tell him he's going to play because he's going to overthink about it. We'll just tell him 2 hours before and say, go on, get on the coach, you're playing, type of thing. And he had a very good performance. And again, just really, really good to see the youth playing. Obviously, we got to see Carney Chukwuemeka, who, in my eyes, is still quite a youthful player. He came on. He was very unlucky to not get a couple of goals too after his cameo, so he's included in this point too. But yeah, these two had a very, very good game, and I hope we actually get to see more of them in the Conference League. I know they rotated in because Noah are such a lower ranked team than we are. And in comparison to what we faced in the past with obviously Hent and Servette and that type of thing, I would like to see these two get more game time. And in general, I think George has now shown that he can play on the right wing, and that right wing has been a bit of a problem area for us because Madrick hasn't been playing especially well recently. So maybe he can get some lighter game time, maybe at the latter stages of Premier League games if we're playing some weaker Premier League sides too. And I just really hope you see him play in the Cup as well. That'd be nice to see. But just in general, very good to see the youth get out, and not only for them to get out onto the pitch, but actually put in very good performances between them. Speaking of very good performances, I'm going to be putting in another man who I thought played relatively well over the course of the game, but I'm not putting him in here for his performance overall. I'm putting him in here for the goal that he scored, and it's Misha Madrick, because we scored 8 goals in this game, and he got the pick of the bunch. I'm actually going to get you a little bit smaller here so I can fit him in. But yeah, Madrick scored an absolute worldie in this game, and it's pretty funny. And I said this as a joke, but it is kind of funny. We see him in training pull off this exact move every single time that we see training clips of him, where he cuts in from the left-hand side, puts onto his right foot, bends it into the top right corner. We see it over and over and over again, and it's something that he practices over and over and over and over again. And as they say, you do not fear the man that practices 1,000 things one time, you fear the man that practices one thing 1,000 times. And eventually it's going to happen, and it finally happened in this game, and it was such a clean strike, such a powerful strike, such a precise strike, because again, absolute postage stamp upper echelon shot into the top right corner from Madrick, and it's nice to see him kind of play with this swagger and this confidence. And we see this from the whole team after a while. After we get a few goals, they're all playing with that kind of swagger and confidence. But especially it's good to see a player that we know is so mentally motivated to play, right? He is a player that really needs to be in the right mind space to do well, and if he's not confident and he's not managed well, he does seem to drop off. This season he has been an absolute breath of fresh air. I think even though he's been playing in the Conference League, this is a very funny stat that he has more goals and assists than Foden this season. So there we go, good going for Misha. And again, as I said, just the quality that is on display for this goal. And as I said, I joked about this on Twitter. I said I think that the only reason he scored this goal is because he thought it was a training session because the game was so easy, because he always scores these goals in training. But very good to see him doing it on the pitch, and long may his form continue, and maybe we get to see him play a bit more in the Premier League now, because he is really coming into his own. And again, the winger positions are being a bit contentious for us at the moment, especially with Sancho still being out for illness. I've got a theory here, by the way, because a lot of people are kind of confused about Sancho and like, why have we not seen him for 2 weeks? I'm just going to put this out there. I'm wondering if he might have caught COVID. So he might have caught COVID, and that's why he's been out for this specific amount of time. Because if it was just a regular illness and he was like, oh, I'm ill, whatever, I can't play, you'd think that he would probably be out for like a week or so and then come back. Whereas he's been out specifically for 2 weeks, which is kind of the bracket that they use to kind of self-isolate and be like, cool, let's keep you away from the squad. So I'm wondering if that might have happened. I'm hoping it's not anything like mental in that regard, because we know that Sancho has struggled with mental issues in the past. But yeah, let's move on to the final point. And it's funny because I'm putting him in good, right? I'm putting this man in good, and it's going to be for Christopher Nkunku. And it pains me to say this, because I originally, when I wrote my notes for this episode, I put him in the medium box, because despite him getting 2 goals and an assist in this game, which is very good numbers, I don't think he had a good game at all, which is really weird to say. I think that obviously he gets the penalty. Less said about this penalty, the better, I think. I'm really not sure if it was a penalty. I guess there's contact, but it's kind of more of a coming together than an actual offence by the defender. I think it is pretty harsh. In all honesty, I don't think though that he should have had this penalty. I think it should have gone to Felix. And I've just realised that this wasn't the final point. This is the 6th point. I said it was the final point, but it's the 6th point. But yeah, I think that overall his game wasn't actually that good, and it's kind of weird because he gets such a good goal return. And I mentioned this in the past, and that's the reason why I put him in the good box. If you are having a bad game, the way to kind of turn heads and be like, to kind of put that bad game behind you is by getting goal contributions. And he got 3 in this game without really actually having a good game. So he goes in here. Am I miscounting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. So I don't know why I said the final point, because it's not the final point. But yeah, again, I'm gonna put, so I put Nkunku in the good box just for that, because again, if you get 3 goal contributions in the game, I can't really fault you for that. But in general, I just don't think he had a very good game, and I think he kind of covered over the cracks of a relatively lesser performance from him than we're used to seeing with those goal contributions. And it's kind of weird to see as well, because he was playing in the 10 behind the striker, which is where we kind of expect him to play, and expect him to play well. He wasn't playing as the 9, because obviously Gio was playing as the 9, so it's a bit weird seeing him not perform as well as he probably could have done. But again, if this is what he's doing, producing 3 goals and assists on a bad day, then I will take it, because when he has a good day, we're in for a very, very good performance from him. That's all I'll say. Now, the final point, I don't know why I said the final point before. The final point for this is, of course, for my personal man of the match, and that's Joao Felix. He was absolutely everywhere today. I keep saying today. Yesterday, he was absolutely everywhere. And obviously he gets the 2 goals. He could have had 3, maybe even 4 goals if he was given the penalty. He had so many shots. It's funny because he actually got an expected goals of 1.66, which is bizarre to me, because he literally missed an open goal in the first 10 minutes of the game. So I'm really not sure how that worked. But the main thing which I'm kind of giving him credit for is not just because of the goals. Obviously the goals are nice, and the goals are good to see from Felix, but it's his overall play of the fact that he was involved in absolutely everything. Pretty much every single attack that went well for us in this game, Felix had some kind of involvement in. And the thing which I kind of discredited him for, and I have been discrediting him and Nkunku for in these recent games, is the fact that his work rate hasn't been the greatest, and he has been a bit lazy. He was not lazy in this game. He was actually really, really on the ball and just trying to get involved as much as he can, and trying to, lack of a better term, he was just trying to stat pad, and it's nice to see him do that, because he's a player that is has a kind of a public perception of being a little bit more source than substance. And in this game, it was nice to see him kind of being like, you know what, no, I've got the source, I've got the substance too, so I'm just going to, I'm going to be creating the attacks, I'm going to be finishing off the attacks, I'm going to be linking the midfield and the forwards in a way, and kind of helping everyone get involved into the game. And he's just everywhere. I think he gets the highest rating in the team, if I'm not mistaken. If I go and look at my stats here, yeah, he gets a 9.2 for this performance today, which is insane for a player that wasn't playing as a forward. He's playing as a inside 10. So very, very good performance from him. And yeah, again, as I said, he could have definitely gotten more goals in this game too, which is astonishing, because he already got the 2. He missed an open goal, and obviously could have had the penalty too, but there was even more chances for him to score in this game, and it's just overall a very good performance. And for that, I'm going to be putting him as the true blue for this game. I think he was personally my man of the match. And yeah, I hope you guys agree with me. If you don't, leave your comments down below and tell me who you think was the true blue in this game. Just tell me what your opinions of this this game was in general, because I'm very happy that we put in a very professional performance. We obviously have gotten 8 goals for the goal difference, which puts us at the top of the table, obviously, because we were already there, but it extends that lead, which is something we were looking forward to kind of seeing from this game. And now we are so far ahead in that goal difference that I think that even if we start falling and our performances aren't greatest and we don't keep winning games or whatever, if we have a shock upset or something in these coming games, at least we have the goal difference that's going to put us higher up. And I don't think there's any way at this point that we don't get automatically qualified into the round of 16. So yeah, hopefully we can do that. And we're just surging on to what looks like a very triumphant kind of surge through this competition, where it looks like we're going to kind of steamroll any team that we come up against, which is good. We move on to Arsenal in the Premier League on Sunday, I believe, and the preview for that game will be out probably on the morning of or the day before. It depends. If is that a Sunday game? Let me check that real quick. I think it is a Sunday kickoff for that game. It is. It's a 4:30 kickoff on Sunday, so I will try to get that out by 7 PM on the Saturday. I'm recording this on the Friday, so might be a bit of a time crunch. If not, it will be out, of course, on the morning of, but I try to avoid doing that with early kickoffs, but there we are. Thank you guys for watching, as ever. I'll hit the outro. As I said, leave the comments down below of what you kind of thought about this game. I'd love to see some conversation down there. And that was just my Feeling Blue match review for this game. I hope to see you here for the next one. But if you can't wait until then, YouTube reckons you'll enjoy one of these two videos on screen in the meantime. Thank you guys so much for watching as ever, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.